Okay, welcome back. So let's start troubleshooting this thing and see why it's not running. Last time I found out that the fuel pump was getting power, but was not running, or at least I couldn't hear it run. But another thing I just thought of is maybe the car doesn't have any fuel in it. I don't know, the previous owner told me that he put in almost a full tank like a few years ago when he parked it. And according to the fuel gauge, it has some. I don't know. Might be worth checking. Well, I assume that this thing here is the fuel tank. So the fuel level sender thing, can supposedly be removed in order to inspect the inside of the fuel tank. Let's see. Oh, there we go. There's a window here. Okay, that looks easy enough. There's some random washers here flying around from who knows where. Okay, well, I thought it was going to be easier. I thought this was going to just open up and I could see the tank, but can I just lift it a little bit and take a peek? Maybe I don't need to disconnect the wires. Yeah, there's fuel. I could see it splashing around. I mean, it's old gas, so it's reddish, brownish, but it doesn't look rusty, and the surface of the tank looks fine actually, which is a great sign. And so I think I'm just gonna siphon it out of here in order not to deal with the drain plug now that I have this open. And I'll put in fresh gas, but this also confirms that the issue of the car not starting is not lack of fuel. There is fuel. It's old fuel, but there's still fuel, so it should be flowing. If it's not blocked, obviously. Okay, on to the next thing to check. Alright, well, I disconnected the outlet hose from the fuel pump. It's dripping a little bit. Maybe it's slightly siphoning out the fuel from the tank, I don't know. But it's dripping very slowly. And let's see what happens when I turn on the ignition, which gives power to the fuel pump. Nothing. Yeah, so confirmed, fuel pump is not working. Okay, I guess I just need to take it out and start rebuilding. Alright, so I drained all the fuel. I disconnected the inlet and outlet hoses from the fuel pump right here. Drained all the fuel. It kind of came out on its own. I still haven't removed the fuel pump itself. There's just a few bolts that hold it here, hold the brackets, multiple, and then the electrical connections. So I gotta undo these and take them out. But before I do that, there's one thing I forgot to test, and that's the hammer test. Yeah, fuel pumps basically sometimes get stuck, and if you give it a small tap with a hammer, they might start working. So I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna reconnect the battery and just try that. With the fuel hoses disconnected, doesn't really matter. I'm just gonna see if I can hear anything from the fuel pumps when I tap them with a hammer, just in case. Give it ignition. Let's see. Oh, okay, it started working. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have disconnected all the fuel hoses. At least one of them started working. Let's try the other. Okay. Guys, I should have tried this before even disconnecting the fuel hoses and man, dealing with this whole fuel situation. This was a pain. Why did I do that? I didn't need to do that. I should have just tapped it with a hammer and the car would have started. Anyway, well, maybe I should go get a fresh can of gasoline and try to start the car after I reattach the hoses, which is annoying because if I do need to remove the fuel pumps again, which I probably do if they stop working once, they're probably not in good shape. Man, I'm so anxious to get the car running. I almost want to reattach everything and just start it with fresh gas. But I know I'll have to disconnect everything and drain everything again. And that was such a pain. Everything started smelling like fuel. Just annoying. I don't want to do that twice. So I think the more responsible and smarter decision is to just disassemble the fuel pumps, fix them somehow. I don't know, replace the diaphragm or whatever is worn inside, and then reassemble everything. Which is annoying because it means that I won't have the car running anytime soon. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna get it running with this pump as it's running right now. And yeah, see what happens. All I need is some fresh gasoline. What? It says 100 octane fuel. It's barely legible, but yeah, it says 100 octane. How is that even possible? Did they even have 100 octane back in the 60s and 70s when this car was built? Well, I just put in some 95 octane in this can, so that'll have to do for a test. I'm not gonna put too much. I'll put just like 1 liter or something, just for a test, and then I'll fill up with 100 octane next time. But this is really surprising. I know this is not a car for the masses, but still, 100 octane in 1974? Seriously. I mean, some gas stations don't even have that nowadays. Back in the day, they had like 80-something octane. Okay, well, let's see if it runs. Okay. It's attached to this tether wire kind of thing. That's a cool 70s solution to the problem of losing your cap. Okay, let's put in some fuel. One-handed and one-footed while I'm filming with the other hand. See the sacrifices I do for you guys? Just so you can see how I'm pouring gasoline into a Rolls-Royce. Very interesting. Okay. And now, the moment of truth. Will it run? Let's find out. Fuel pump is making noise. Presumably that noise will change once fuel gets to it. Oh yeah, it's supposed to wind down when the carburetors are full. Still kind of sounds like it's blank noise, that it's just sucking in air. Oh, there's a leak. Oh shit, I gotta turn it off. Oh crap. There is a leak. There is a huge fuel leak here. at the front of all places. What? What is this hose? And why is it? Well, maybe it's not a fuel leak, maybe it's something else. No, it's gotta be fuel. Why is it not attached to anything? The hell? What? That looks like some sort of, I don't know, like a return hose or something? Like a, I don't know, drain hose of some sort? Maybe when the carbs are getting too much gas, it drains from there if they don't close properly. And no, I'm just running things through my head, but okay. It's leaking from that pipe over there, which kind of looks like it's maybe a return pipe from the carburetors. If things can't seal up there, maybe it's intended to have the excess fuel come out from here as opposed to spread around the engine bay and cause a fire. Maybe that was the idea of this thing. I don't know. I need to look into it. Maybe it's one of these two. Maybe it's the lower one, which comes from the bottom of this thing, which I assume is like a fuel rail almost for the two carbs. I'm gonna guess that this is the supply line and that other one is like a return line, but it's not really supposed to be returning any fuel. Huh. Weird. That doesn't make any sense. Why would it be draining it from there? Maybe something's not sealing properly. Well, in any case, the engine should start if it's getting fuel, even though it's leaking a bunch of it underneath. I think it's relatively safe to start it. It's not like it's going to cause a fire or anything. I'm going to put a drain pan underneath to catch the fuel and try to start it just to see if it runs. I'm going to shut it off in a few seconds. Yeah, I don't know. If I die in a fire, you'll see it recorded. Okay. Attempt number 2 at starting the engine. Actually sounds very good. And that thing is pouring. Pouring. Okay. Yeah. Fuel is pouring down there. But the engine runs and it actually sounds really smooth. I mean, relatively speaking. For an old engine, it does sound very smooth. But what is up with this thing? Maybe just the hose came off of it and it's supposed to be like a return hose to the fuel tank. But as far as I know, the fuel system on this car is a one-way system, not like modern cars where it's like a full loop with a return line and the pressure regulator and all those things. As far as I know, there's just one line going from the tank to the filter to the pump and to the carburetors. There shouldn't be a return line. And I don't really know much about carburetors. This is only my second car ever, or third maybe, with carburetors, but I haven't really done anything with them on the other cars. But as far as I know, on carburetors there's a float that shuts off fuel income or intake or whatever it's called into the carburetor when it's like fuel chamber is full. And so at that point it shouldn't be taking in any more fuel, but it also shouldn't be dumping it on the ground, you know. It should just be closing like a valve of some sort. I don't know, I'm just guessing at this point. I gotta read up on this. I'll let you guys know what I find out. Okay, well, I did read up on it, and it looks like my suspicion was correct. There is a float chamber of the carburetor where there's a float, and it's supposed to close when it fills up with fuel. It pushes up a pin that closes the fuel inlet, and if it doesn't, it overflows, and the excess fuel goes to that pipe just to be dumped to the ground. So, you know what the solution is? A hammer. Well, I'm hoping anyway. So this is the float chamber here on one of the carburetors, and the other one is right here. So I'm going to tap these lightly again and hope that jiggles the float to rise up and actually close the valve so that it stops dumping fuel. So I'm going to turn it on just so I can hear the difference. Let's see. Oh no, I got to turn on the battery first, which is down here. I have this handy quick connector thing. Okay. And now I fully expect it to start dumping fuel. Is it? Yep. Okay, now tap. Where's my hammer? Where's my hammer? Where did I leave the hammer? Ah! Did I leave it back here? Where's the hammer? Oh, down here. Okay. The fuel pump stopped. That doesn't make any sense. Do I need to hammer that again? Fuel drip stopped as well, but that's probably because the fuel pump stopped. Okay. Well. Or maybe it's made to stop after a certain amount of time. I don't know. Let me start it again. Weird. Let me start the engine. Okay, I can't hear the fuel pump, so it must be dead again, and I'm guessing that the car continued to run just because of the fuel that is in those float chambers. I turned on the ignition again, and the fuel pump clicked a few times, and I didn't see any leakage on the floor, but maybe that's just because the fuel pump died very quickly after that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to move the car. It should have enough fuel in the carbs just to move a little so I can see whether the transmission is working fine and all that. I'm just going to make a quick turn to the left here. In addition, I want to do that because I want the exhaust to be pointing outward and not inside. So let's see if it runs and moves. Yeah, fuel pump is clicking a little and then it stopped. Well, it's not running very smoothly, but let's see. I'm moving! The big boat is moving! Yes! Okay. Okay. See if we have reverse. Yep. Okay. Man, this car is so huge. It's not really maneuverable very well. Let's see. Okay. Haha, I'm driving a Rolls. I'm getting a coolant warning light. Maybe the coolant is low, I don't know. In any case, just gonna shut it off in a second. Okay. Oh, I forgot to put it in park. Is that... Oh, the fuel pump is running. Good, and so I guess it builds up pressure and then it stops. Okay, which is a good sign, I guess. Let's see if there's leakage on the floor. No, there isn't. Maybe me hitting the float chambers of the carburetors with a hammer actually resolved that issue as well. Who would know that you can fix a Rolls-Royce with a hammer? No other tools, just a hammer. Okay, first drive, so to say. Not a real drive, but just moving the Rolls. Nice. The brakes work, by the way. It has two brake systems on this car. One of them is definitely out of fluid because it works together with the self-leveling suspension in the rear. And that one is out of fluid. It's supposed to be here. This container is empty, but this container is full. And this is the, they are two independent systems, and the front brakes have two calipers. One of them is driven by one system, and the other one is driven by the other system. So they are redundant, and if one of them fails, you have another one to work with. So that's the way they over-engineered their cars back in the 70s, I guess 60s when this model came out. So that's a good thing at this point because one of the systems is out and I still have brakes. Good. Well, the car is definitely not perfect. It has a lot of stuff to be done, but it's only been a few days since I bought it, and I've gotten it running and partly driving. Don't want to drive it because of that hydraulic leak. So all in all, not too bad. I still think it's a good purchase, and I'm still going to be continuing with the project. I just need to order some parts now, do some basic maintenance, and figure out how to solve that hydraulic leak, how to replace that pipe. And after that, the car should be good to go, relatively speaking, just usable. And from there on, I'm gonna start the, proper restoration, evaluate even more stuff when I get it driving and actually can do a test drive, figure out what else it needs, and then at some point, maybe years from now, who knows, whenever I have time, I will start on the cosmetic side of the restoration as well. But for now, it's just going to be the mechanical stuff until I get it driving to a point where I can, yeah, just kind of use it a few times and see what else it needs from the mechanical side. But other than that, yeah, it's a great car, very pretty if you ask me, and it has a lot of potential. So if you're as interested in this as I am, which I'm sure you are, subscribe to my channel, like the video, and you'll get notifications when I post new stuff and new updates on this project. And yeah, should be fun. Take care.